What up, YouTube? What up, what up, what up? What are you guys doing? It's creeping Charlie here. Beautiful plant, but they're really bad for ground covering, lower plants that sit low on the ground, this thing just throw them to death, so you always have to be getting rid of them. Where they go? In the garbage. Should say recycling compost. Let's go down into this patch right here. Let's say what up, what up, what up, what up, YouTube. Give thanks, blessings. Shout out to all of the people, all who subscribe to my channel. You know what I mean? Blessed love, all the support over the last few years. My thing do say in I think 2015 I joined YouTube, but I think just around like maybe in our 2020 region around before that a little. I start first posting up a little video. So blessed love to all of the people that been in tune and been supporting for what it is, Blessed, give thanks. This is Nick here from Yard Man Garden and Arts TV. This is definitely officially no doubt one of the flower of the month of May. We're coming up right to May, in the April. April 29 today, is it 29 or 28? But yeah, this is officially should be one of the official plant or flower for the month of May. It doesn't bloom for long, but you have the most beautiful white, bright white and nice floral smell. Smell like a cologne. Like the first time I smell it in the forest the first time. I was like, man, how the forest is so beautiful smell. And I realized that it was in May and this guy was blooming. So this is how I first was introduced to them and I propagate them and was able to have this patch going. As you see, some of it a little damage on top here, surface. The creeping Charlie, as I see, I come try pull them, but they're gonna be fine. They're so almost open up. They're almost in that flowering state right now, but they got mowed over a bit, some of them. The patches spreading more, like even these here, as you see. The patch is spreading more as the year go by and each season. As you see all the way up there underneath here. They're going. How beautiful these ones are. This is where the flower is coming from. So yeah, this is officially should be, or if not the, but one of for sure the flower for the month of May. And if you don't know, why now you're not watching this video this far, some people might know what it is and I have to keep catching myself to not step on this one at the end, as I just put into thought a while ago. I think back, and these are some of the most lush ones. Where the bloom is gonna come. But man, sometimes I pick the bloom, and bring them inside. Put them in like a little vase, especially when I know that they're gonna dry up, because they bloom quick and they go fast. But anyway, go back to that. Watching this video, if you already know what this plant is, many people may not know, especially in different countries, but I'm sure it may be growing in other country as well. The same thing here, there's a lot on the edge. Keep have to remind not to step on it. I just need to recreate this area, because one time it was just right here, you know, the whole patch of it was, you know, right in this smaller area here. You know, they are all spreading. They kind of like those bulb plant, you know, that keep spread under the ground. You know, all these was all new. You see how beautiful these are. You know, but back to that again. I keep getting distracted, but I'm not forgetting anyway to mention that many people who are watching it may know or may not know this plant. You know, it's called lily of the valley. You know, get down to the root and the name of it, lily of the valley. You know, it's mostly come up as far as blooming, springing for the most part, early spring as you see now. It's end of April, but then it bloom in for May. So by the middle of May, all these open up into beautiful white, nice flower, beautiful smell plant. You know, and yeah, they definitely should be one of the official plants for me as far as flower go. Always come up around this time, you know. And like I said, it bloom pretty quick. You know, it springs up. You know, these are about a week and some in growth since coming up, I should say, from out the ground. You know, it's about a week growth, so they pretty much grow pretty quick, and the flower doesn't really stay as long as I would wish. You know, and same thing remind me of magnolia. Yeah, magnolia. Yes, magnolia. That plant basically the flower as early spring start to grow before the leaf. You know, so it's another plant, beautiful, but grow the flower first, and then in a couple weeks all the flower are gone, and then the leaf start to grow in. So anyway, lily of the valley. I'm just here right now getting rid of these creepy Charlie. It's like they call him creeping Charlie. Grown succulent here, you know, in a sense. Not necessarily succulent, they say succulent in the sense that they suck the life out of anything on the ground, you know. As you see, they kind of almost coming up to the height of the lily of the valley, so you know, they can't be in here. You know, if this was a more bushy area in the end of the yard where I don't necessarily need that space, you know, would leave them, but as you see, they grow beautiful purple flower, and I know anything with flower, the bees and the butterfly, you know, may consume. But there's so much other option around the beautiful lush forest area that we live in. You know, these coffee won't do them harm, and I do need these lily of the valley to keep preserving and surviving. The whole purpose was to propagate them and get them going, to establish in this area enough where they can keep coming up every year and, you know, beautify and smell beautiful around this time of year. So yeah, lily of the valley. Let me know in the comment section. Let's see this video. If you know this plant, if you grow it, if you ever seen it before. Seems to be more of a wild invasive in the sense that it grow and spread, so a little bit invasive, so wild. Kind of like this one right here that I found when I remember I was doing pool service. I found this in a bushy section of a yard that we were working. Not even sure what it's called, but anything to do with beauty, bees especially, you know, and butterfly, I'm in for it, you know. So it's really another wild plant. It's growing all the way back here. You know, it's kind of spread itself. You have beautiful leaf. You see a low spotting on the leaf. Get it good in the camera. Here. Anyone watching can identify. Here you go now. So that's kind of how the leaf are. You know, with that lushy green, white spotting. More a better view. Not sure what it's called, but it does bloom these beautiful yellow flower that the bees for sure, especially the honeybee. You know, um the bumblebee of course, yes. You know, does feast on it as the pollen come in. Earlier spring is you're gonna see these bees coming in. They love this, that's why I bring it here to propagate, but you see it spreading itself. Here are some hydrangeas that I'm cutting back. Get down to the lush of it. These are just springing. My hands already recovering from winter and the dry, you know, but already in the garden getting scratched up and banged up. But these are hydrangeas, and I'm cutting back the branches right now, or the dead sticks, you know. Don't do as low as here because they're springing and some of it coming up as well. It's not all the way dead, as you see right here. Still springing. So I'm cutting as far as down to the surface that's dead, dying off, or already die off. It's kind of dry. Yeah, some of it, you know, still have green and have life in it, but you know, it's good to cut back plant like these sometimes to give it more room to spring freshly. I should have done this, you know, fall, but early spring we're gonna be doing it right now. So let's see, we already do it over here. Reveal fresh growth, beautiful hydrangeas. I remember I planted these, you know, maybe between 6-7 years ago. You know, these are perennial, so these plants keep coming back. But you see how these creeping Charlie find their way everywhere. Last season I planted a little bit of same lily of the valley. As you see, these are just coming up. I put a little few rooting down in this spot to just propagate and fill in a bit, you know, on the ground surface. They're coming in right here, so I'm looking in the next few years this whole area is gonna cover with them. Lily of the valley. Beautiful plant. And it should be one of the official plants for me. That's the amount of these hydrangeas we cut back. And it's all gonna go into, you know, compost. Turn into soil. Beautiful evening, beautiful afternoon. Sun is coming through. Already getting lush and green because this apple tree that really doesn't produce much of eatable fruit, but a ton of apple, but a lot of worms. It doesn't eat a lot, but look how quick it's all growing in. End of April. It's crazy. You know, these are evergreen, so they stay fresh and evergreen. This is just early spring, so we're just getting going as far as getting the yard nice and ready, looking lush and beautify, you know. Looking to add a lot more perennial in the ground this season so we can beautify the yard more. See the same plant springing, spreading. It show you how it can take itself. This is a vine of it, so it kind of send itself along the ground. Sometime underneath, sometime on the surface, and it take root. You know, I can easily pull this up, show you. But all those all these stem eventually grow into root or send root, you know, into the ground. Is how they reproduce and propagate and spread. All these nodes. Oh yeah, we have the lily of the valley patch here. In a couple weeks, I'm gonna show you, probably even less, a week full. The beautiful and lush growth of this beautiful plant. You know, and let me know in the comment for this creeping Charlie. Beautiful, nice purple and white plant, but just invasive, you know what I mean? Not good for the garden. The surface I need to make into more mulchy, soft area, you know, although this plant does love more wild terrain in a sense, you know, for the most, like, they grow under the under canopy of forest, so it's not like they this plant that you come and you groom them into regular garden surface area, you know, but they definitely need more grooming than just being out in the forest, you know, especially having these creepy Charlie coming in here. But check it out, you know, they're going all the way. Even this existing, I think this is some type of lily, you know. So this is definitely an ongoing thing with these plants here spreading. You can hear my little Richie inside complaining, sound like he's tired sound. You know, there's someone in there with him anyway, but so he's fine. But you can hear him shouting out. You know, he's getting older, and he doesn't get his way. He's make sure his voice is heard now. You know, but it's true. He's crying out louder. You know, not bawling in a sense of he's been hurt in any way, but you know, babies. Our babies are. Go check on him here and start another run of daddy duty. Came in from work and we hung out for a while. We went down by the lake, and we came back up. Actually saw a bunch of swans, you know. We make up a video of some swan. But yeah, see how this plant is making its way in between all underneath here. Yeah, these are them as much as lush and tall as these are, same lily of the valley. So they're gonna be hidden underneath all this, you know. So that's for them. But anyway, we're gonna feature this into what it is when they are growing, showing their beautiful flower, and give more insight of how they look. You know, let me know in the comment section, lily of the valley, if you grow this plant or if you ever seen it growing before, whether in domestic at home here or in the wild. Save our friskas. We need to get another machete sharpen. These are more adventurous machete. They do the trick once you know how to work it, you know. But they're not the best. And we have this plant going here. And we did a whole thing to it, but it survived. We're gonna have to move it at some point because it's too close to the house. But I didn't plant it, it's just an evergreen tree that sent itself from another mother plant that was growing in the area. But we had a video that we made that we did a thing, and surprising to see it survive and doing well. But this whole area was a whole bush under canopy. Wasn't working out, you know, because I do move around under this area sometimes, go in the back gardening purpose. So it was just too much low growing to the ground, and I'm thinking eventually I'm gonna use this area as growing surface. You know, I don't have a lot of land space, so this is some old kid toy. You know, before I end up having kid, this was sitting around. I was gonna put it to the roadside for the removal people to take it, but might save it for a while for young Richie to enjoy for a while. He's a young soldier, so know he will like this in the yard as time to come, so I might keep it around. But yeah, I might use this area for it doesn't get a lot of sun, so for plants that, you know, for more shady plants. But yeah, I wanna make this video too long. Spring, it's awakening, it's fresh. You can hear the neighbors out next door having fun as well, the kids. Area is alive, you know what I mean? Life is alive. Live life. Live well. You know? All this going to back into soil, imagine that. And actually here's another hydrangeas. You know, this one always, as you see, it's always springing up. Bikers are in the neighborhood. Everybody out. Oh yeah. This one always kinda in a lot of bush area. Always have to be fighting with it. This is another invasive thing. Raspberry. Small patch of it was down there and look how it's taking over. That's the next thing I'm gonna have to cut and you know control because it take over and you have a lot of spiny vine that really doesn't work. You know, I remember these two trees was huge pine tree. They kinda die off, you know, they were touching each other so they were dying off and then eventually the scare of them may fall out on the houses or anything. So they got cut. I suggest keeping the stump of them for future. Maybe a hammock or you know something. I'm gonna put some plant and some beauty, even some bird house, some life, you know, sustain life and continue purpose. That's some bleeding heart. Beautiful plant as well, bleeding heart. As I know who know bleeding heart. And a beautiful plant. Get those bird bath going. But yeah, these raspberry are definitely not gonna work out. You know. Very thorny, as you know, raspberry. Really sharp thorns.